Good day, ma'am. My name is John Victor Soriano, BS Criminology 3 Block 4, and this is my COA 2. My topic I choose in semi-final is child abuse. What is child abuse? Child abuse is any mistreatment or neglect of a child that result in non-accidental harm or injury and which cannot be reasonably explained. Types of child abuse: physical abuse, maltreatment, any act which results in an accidental physical injury or an unreasonable infliction of physical injury to a child, also known as child battering. And yung child abuse na yung physical abuse or maltreatment. Ito yung sinasaktan yung bata, ganun, ma'am. Next is emotional abuse. Any harm to child emotional or intellectual functioning. It is also commonly defined as tearing down of another human being. It is considered a pattern of behavior that can seriously interfere with children's positive development. Emotional abuse is probably the least understood of all child abuse, yet it is the most prevalent and can be cruelest and most destructive of all times. Ma'am, emotional abuse it is by verbal or giving negative negative feedback to other person that will affect their behavior, you know. Next is there are types of emotional abuse. Rejecting. Parents who lack the abilities to bond will often display rejecting behavior towards a child. They tell a child in a variety of ways that he or she is unwanted. They may tell the world is worthless by rejecting, like emotional or saying in emotional abuse. By rejecting, they affect to change their behavior. Ignoring. Adults who have lived few of their emotional needs with are often unable to respond to the needs of their children. They may not show attachment to the child or provide nurturance. Many times the parent is physically there but emotionally unavailable. Terrorizing. Parent may single out one child to criticize and punish. They may ridicule him or her for displaying normal emotions and have expectations far beyond his or her normal abilities. A child may be threatened with death, mutilation, or abandonment. Isolating. A parent who abuses a child through isolation may keep a baby in a room, not exposed to stimulation, or may prevent teenager from participating in extracurricular activities. Next is corruptive. Parent permit child to use drugs or alcohol, to watch cruel behavior towards animals, to watch pornographic materials and adult sex acts, or to witness or participate in criminal activities such as stealing, assault, prostitution, or gambling, etc. Next is child neglect. Any unreasonable deprivation of child basic needs such as food, clothing, shelter, education, medical and general care and supervision. Next is sexual abuse. It is the involvement of the child in sexual activity with an adult or any person older or bigger, in which for gratification of older person achieved. Next is sexual exploitation. Act involving children, whether male or female, who for money, profit, or any other consideration due to coercion or influence by an adult, syndicate or group to indulge in sexual intercourse or lascivious conduct. Next is child labor exploitation. The act of employing, permitting, or allowing children below 15-year-old age to suffer to work in any public or private establishment where they are not directly under the supervision of their parents. Guardian of the latter employ other workers apart from children. Next is child trafficking. The act of engaging in trading and dealing with children, including but limited to the act of buying and selling of child for money or for any other consideration or barter. Next lesson is special categories of children. Number one is dependent child. One who without a parent, guardian, or custodian, or one whose parents, guardian, or dependent upon the public for support other custodian for good cause desire to relieve for his care and custody and ease. Number two is abandoned child. One who was no proper parent care or guardianship for whose parent or guardian have deserted him for a period at least 6 continuous months. Number 3 is neglect child. One whose basic needs have been deliberately unattended or inadequately unattended. Neglect may occur in two ways. First is physical neglect. There is physical neglect when the child is malnourished, ill-inclined, and without proper shelter. The child is unattended when left by himself without proving his need and or without proper supervision. Second is emotional neglect. It exists when children are maltreated, raped, or seduced, when children are exploited, overworked, or made to work under conditions not conclusive to good health, or are made to be begged in the street or public places, or when children are in moral danger or exposed to gambling, prostitution, and other vices. Next, in special categories of child is commitment or surrender of a child. It is the legal act of entrusting a child to the care of the Department of Social Welfare and Department of any duly licensed child, place, agency, or individual. Next is commitment may be done in two ways. First is involuntary commitment. In case of dependent child or through the termination of parent or guardianship rights by reason of abandonment, substantial and continuous or repeated neglect and or apparent incompetence to discharge parent responsibilities and the manner from a procedure hereinafter prescribed. Next is voluntary commitment. Through the relinquishment of parent or guardianship rights in a manner of for hereinafter prescribed. Classification of children and youth welfare agencies. First is public and private child welfare agencies providing encouragement, care, and protection to any category of child and youth, whether mentally gifted, dependent, abandoned, negligent, abused, handicapped, disturbed, or youthful offenders shall coordinate with this WD. 1. Child caring institution. One that provides 24 hours resident group care service for the physical, mental, social, and spiritual well-being of 9 or more mentally gifted. An institute whose primary purpose is education is deemed to be a child caring institution if 9 or more if its pupils or wards do not return annually to the homes of their parents for at least 2 months of summer vacation. Number 2 is detention homes. A 24-hour child care institution providing short-term resident care for youthful offenders who are awaiting court disposition of their cases or transferred to other agencies or jurisdiction. Number 3 is shelter care institution. One that provides temporary protection and care to children requiring reception as a result of fortuitous events, abandonment by parents, dangerous condition of or neglect or cruelty in the home or court, holding them as a child witness. Number 4 is receiving homes. Family types homes which provide temporary shelter from 10 to 20 days for children who shall during this period be under observation and study for eventual placement by DSWD. The number of children in receiving homes shall not anytime exceed 10. Number 5 is nursery. A child care institution that provides care for 6 or more children below 6 years of age for all part of a 24 days except those duly licensed to offer primary medical and educational services. Number 6 is maternity home, an institution or place or residence whose primary function is to give shelter and give and care to pregnant women and their infants before, during, and after delivery. Number 7 is rehabilitation, an institution that receives and rehabilitates youthful offenders or other disturbed children. Number 8 is reception and study center, an institution that receives for study, diagnosis, and temporary treatment children who have behavioral problems for the purpose of determining the appropriate care for them, for recommending their permanent treatment or rehabilitation, of other willful agencies. And last is child placing agency, an institution or person assuming care, custody, protection, and maintenance of children for placement in any child caring institution or home or under the care, custody of any person for adoption, guardianship, and or foster care. And what I learned in the lesson, I learned about the child abuse is not just physical violence directed at a child. It is any form of maltreatment by an adult which is violent or threatening for the child. This includes neglect. When child abuse occurs in the home and the abuser is, for example, the child parent or caregiver, this is a form of domestic violence. And as a law enforcer in the future, I will apply all the things I learned in this course, juvenile delinquency and juvenile justice system, that the members of law enforcement often respond to and become involved in a variety of types of child abuse and neglect. Investigators, such as cases of sexual abuse, physical abuse or neglect, domestic abuse, child fatalities, human trafficking, and more. And law enforcement role in child abuse cases, which spans the entire case from the initial call through the investigation and through the court proceedings. The law enforcement officers investigate to determine if a criminal law has been violated, identify and apprehended the offenders, file criminal charges, and providing guidance and support to the child, family, and the child welfare agencies involved. And that's all, ma'am. And thank you.